Derek, everyone, welcome back. So glad we are here. We are live today. Everything's working.
Everything is working. Everything almost wasn't working on my end, but we troubleshot once again, and here we are. So I'm thrilled to be back. Thank you, everyone, for being patient. We really appreciate it. And we're excited to share with you a few of the many tips that the two of us have in terms of being able to show up on video even more effectively and even more engagingly.
Yeah, and this is really just as applicable if you're just doing virtual meetings with clients and prospects, or if you want to do video content, if you are a guest on podcasts, if you're doing webinars, if you're doing anything that involves video, we're going to be touching on some of those really high level things to just level up your video setup. So, Derek, should we just dive in?
Absolutely. Let's.
So our first one, and I won't mention who this is, they might even be here on the screen, but you're on video. We need to see your face. Derek, can you imagine being a prospect, like getting on a call with an advisor, and this is how it starts?
I can, because this does happen. Now, this brings up one of the points that Katie, you and I were talking about before we went live today, and that is, at the risk of stating the obvious, there are three stages to video. There's the before, there's the during, and there's the after. And one of the points that we want to make today, one of the things we hope you take away from our conversation, and we'll be reinforcing this as we come back to this topic over and again, and that is, let's try to take care of as much of this before we record, before we go live, before we get on the call, so
Yeah.
that we don't have to try to make up for this in terms of cost, time, and energy on the after side of it. So this is a great example of one of the things that you can do. Make sure you're not backlit.
Yeah, and this is something you can't fix in post-production.
Yeah,
That's not an option. So big thing
yeah.
here. I just want to give a shout out quickly to Sean Williams. So glad to hear it. We've got success here, and we've got Jessica joining us, and then Sean in here. Yep, the curse of the windows. So while on airplanes the exit rows may be behind you, your windows should always be in front of you. That's a really big thing to keep in mind. And so I just encourage everyone, just do a quick little turn, quick assignment, and look and see how can you turn and have that window in front of you. And, a lot of times, Derek, what we hear is people in really small spaces. How do you make it work in a small space? So let's do like 30 seconds on your setup here where you're actually at right now.
Yeah, so this is actually where I'm coming to you from. I am in a tiny little space. The apartment's bigger, never fear. But you can see I have to my left a window. So what you're seeing on this side of the screen, I have the ability to draw down that blind or raise it up depending on the day. And then you'll see to my right on this side, I have what's called a fill light. I'm using a ring light. Over the course of the next weeks and months, you're going to see a little more fill on that side. But that's one of the other things that can be really helpful, is that you're filling in what would normally be, let me just turn this off for a second,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
A pronounced shadow. So it's one of the reasons that fill lighting can be so effective for you. You can see the effect that that has.
I love that. Yeah, and it's all about making those small spaces work, because we know, right? We both talk to advisors all the time. Either you're kind of in a communal space, or you just have, a little space at home. Maybe even just a little space in the corner of your bedroom. We have all been there. This is literally my bedroom
Yeah.
during COVID. And my husband, when he was home for 12 days at a time, and I'd have to kick him out at 7 a.m. every day. And I was like, all right, you're out of the bedroom. And look, this is just like a $10 folding table. And so I did, honestly, every day, I pushed everything into that corner so that we could like get around the bedroom. And then every morning it took me 12 seconds,
Yeah.
right? I'd pull out the light, pull out the camera. Sarah, glad it's helpful to see sort of the behind the scenes here a little bit. It's, having that window there. And I intentionally took the picture here because it was nighttime. It was the middle of winter, right? It got dark at like 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so keeping that in mind, different times of year, different weather, do you have light? And so here, this is serving as both that key light and that fill light. But you can see, you can make that small space work. And so often people use those fake virtual backgrounds because like, I don't want people to see my bed. Great. Turn it around. right? Turn it around. And we're even going to look at something in just a second. But Derek, any other, thoughts on this sort of a setup?
Well, I think one of the underlying takeaways for me, certainly, and again, you can speak to this as well. We find ourselves in situations in which we have to go mobile, right? We're taking our studio with us. The biggest thing that I want to emphasize here for everyone is make sure you get comfortable because that also comes across. We're talking about some of the more technical aspects of shooting video, but your level of comfort translates into the confidence you project on camera. So get comfortable. If you are not at your usual home studio, make sure that you spend a little time getting acclimated, figuring out where to best position yourself, and making sure that you feel comfortable wherever that happens to be.
Yeah, and one of those that segues perfectly into, I was traveling earlier this year, and so I was in a temporary space, but for an extended period of time, and there wasn't a lot I could do in this space. It's actually
Yeah.
like my childhood bedroom here, right? I've got that huge window next to me, and I was like, how do I kind of balance this? So you see, I've got a little bit of a light here, and yet we're having a little conversation in the chat over here about that overhead light. You can see I'm in the center of the
Yeah.
room. There would have been an overhead light right above me. So absolutely, like turn off that overhead light. Chad, I see your comment. We're going to get to that in just a second here as well. But the bigger thing here is that background.
Yeah.
Derek, how cool is that? That I was like, it's a fake background, but it's not doing that weird virtual thing.
Well, and that's you want to make sure that you are providing as few distractions as possible. And this is a great example of a really affordable workaround. If, again, you want to disguise your background for whatever reason, this is a great alternative to that really funky, not well blurred or virtual background where you're seeing that pixelation around your head, or whenever there's movement, you're seeing some fill that's not natural. The fewer distractions, the better, right? And Gumby and Pokey second that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, that was great. Love the fake real background. So honestly, I got
Yeah.
this on Amazon. I think it was like $12. And so I've used this when we have had things under construction. We had everything being painted. We had carpet being done, right? There were so many times where like I had to move and be somewhere
Yeah.
else. And so you can do that as a way of providing a little bit of consistency. And again, if you do if you're in your bedroom, you're in the corner of your bedroom, just turn your desk around, you can put something like this behind it
Yeah.
and it'll feel like you're in a much bigger space. And the other really big thing is see how the light on my left side matches the light in the background. That's one of the big things a lot of people don't realize when you're using those fake backgrounds. If it's dark or it's too bright,
Yeah.
and then the background is too dark or too bright, it just looks weird. And again, that was Derek, brilliant point. That is exactly it. You need to remove as many distractions as possible so that
Yeah.
people are actually focusing on the conversation at hand.
Yeah, absolutely true. And, again, I am convinced this is a topic we're going to come back to more and more. I know advisors have a lot of questions when it comes to video, and we got 10 minutes for each episode. We don't want to rush. The questions that you have, please reach out to us. Send
Yeah.
us a DM or an email. Let us know what we can cover to help you. We're seeing some of that in today's chat in terms
Yeah.
of overhead lighting, in terms of creating balanced lighting. Chad, you had mentioned shadows in the background. This is one of the things that I have been combating in the space that I'm in right now. One of the reasons you're not seeing pronounced shadows behind me is, you saw in the photo earlier, I have my fill light, my ring light, angled so that I'm not projecting those harsh shadows behind me. You can also do what Katie's doing and doing brilliantly, using backlighting so that you're creating continuity in terms of the lighting. That also gives you some really, really good separation. Oh, I totally love
And it can
that,
be really
right?
fun.
Um, and it creates some wonderful separation between foreground, midground, and background.
Yeah.
Another one of those compositional elements or little things that I'm sure we'll come back to.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we've got about 8 seconds left, but we just want to quickly share. So, Chad, thank you. You put something in there in the chat. Look, there
Yeah.
are different things for different people based on your setup, your budget, and everything.
Yeah.
But I know one of the questions we get is, okay, what do I do about this? So, two things that we generally always recommend you have is an external microphone. Computer microphones are just not that good. We'll do that in a future episode to really kind of give an example of that. Some kind of an external microphone. Here's a top recommended one, Samsung Q2U. Get that really good audio sound, and then a light and tons of lighting options. I also have a huge ring light, love ring lights. You see, they can work with glasses as well. So that's another topic we'll dive into. But this is just an easy one that you can just clip on the side of your desk. So if you have clients coming into your office, if you don't have a lot of space, this will clip on and just provide some nice light, some nice, very soft light in here. So we just want to throw those out. Again, lots of other recommendations that we have as well. Sean, yep, exactly. Front lights reflecting on glasses, hands down. Derek, you made a great point, right? Do it off to an angle or do it a lot higher. That will take
Yep.
care of that reflection in the glasses.
Totally. Absolutely. Well, everyone, we're at 11 minutes and we want to keep as close to 10 as possible. Can't thank you enough for your patience. Again, wonderful engagement in terms of the comments, questions you have. Continue to let us know, and we will dedicate episodes to your questions going forward. So, the more often that happens, the more these episodes solve the problems you're facing.
Yes, I love it. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, everyone, for all of your engagement today. Keep those questions coming. We're mapping it out, and like Derek said, it's all based on what you guys want to hear from us.